Well, I believe this to be the last iron review that we're going to have for the season. Hopefully not, but it is right now. Old golf company making a more modern iron. What's that going to be? Let's check this out next. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary here in this McGolf channel where we talk about golf club reviews, golf club repairs, and golf club fittings, all so your scores can go low. If you would, hit that like, subscribe across the bottom. That way more of this information gets out to the YouTube universe. Also, join us on Mondays at 17:30 or 5:30 p.m. on Monday to talk on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. It's the same thing that we're doing here, only live. We talk to people around the world. You will enjoy it. Join us. It's a good time. Okay, iron, last iron, Wilson. All right, just last time I did the Wilson cavity back and I did the Wilson muscle back. Excellent clubs to be sure for a very small part of the golfing populace, okay? That's for the, what you would call better than average to elite ball strikers to better than average ball strikers, okay? That cavity back was really nice. So they also have the Dynapower, which they released last year, which is the monster distance, massive, forgiving golf iron. So what do they have in between? Well, it used to be the Dynaforged. Now it has redefined itself again in the Dynapwr Forged. Yes, they are keeping on with the Dynapower. What we're going to call it here at McGolf is we're calling it the Dynaforged. I hope that takes off, and I hope that's going to be a thing. I think it's just easy to say Dynaforged. It carries everything across what we want, and that's where we're going to go. So what is the Dynaforged? All right, the Dynaforged is a forged face, which they have right there, and it is in a softer metal body or a skeleton that has a much larger cavity, a much larger sole, a little bit stronger, a little bit more offset. So this is all those things that the cavity back wasn't, and all those things that the Dynapower distance club wasn't. All right, it is a stronger lofted cavity back with a minimum to modicum amount of offset with some forgiveness packed into it. So what this would be is that player's distance category. This is by far and away the most popular category in irons of golf right now. So why is that? Well, it's strong lofted clubs with a minimum amount of offset to modicum amount of offset in order to help people that were ball strikers or gaining that talent, but still are looking for that distance aspect in their game, okay? Now, what makes this one so special? Well, they got power holes. Wilson has been doing power holes for years now, and then they've jumped on the AI bandwagon, and they have a team of people that work in the computer industry or work with a computer in order to specifically place these power holes. Now, what is a power hole? Well, the power hole is nothing more, but it is a slot or a series of slots that get as close to the face as they possibly can in order to allow the face to spring a little bit, in order to get that ball speed that everybody's looking for, in order to run it right out there as much as you possibly can, okay? That's what they're looking for. And so it's that tweener club, right? This is the one that we should see a lot of golfers getting into. What do we got to do? Well, we got to measure it. So again, just like I did on the CBs and the MBs, I got the head only. I put it so that it would fit into my fitting system. I put it onto the same shaft. It came out actually heavier. The head was just a hair heavier, and it was more towards the sole. It wasn't out of spec. It just came out heavier. Okay. It was right there. The specification for this wasn't on the website. My rep actually gave it to me, and it was within a half a degree. So that's awesome. So we're right then and there. So now that we know what we're hitting, let's actually go hit it. Okay, so we're talking about the Dynaforged. It was a 6-iron, and it was attached to a Nippon Neo 950 and an R Flex, just to keep it along with all my other irons that I've been testing. And as you can see, here's a select number. So we're going to review where they landed. And as you can see, I'm not missing side too bad. There's a good group in the middle. And if we look at the flights right here, we look at it this way, and we're talking about a 6-iron, goes up the middle, and in reality, that's a pretty tight pattern for my 6-irons. I can't believe I let a couple get to the left, but hey, that's the reason why they test. I'm really kind of pleased with the feel with this particular golf club and what it did, so let's do a little bit more analysis. All right, so we're looking, and the club is making a pretty decent path. The shaft is really not awesome, but it's working for me, so we'll go with that. And now we're going to go in here. Well, let's go back here. So if we look, there's some 170s, 180s, 160s, or high 160s. So this thing averages, it would probably somewhere in the mid to upper 170s when we get it done. So let's take a look, and because right now on the average it's 173, 176, and I'm hitting it at a 136 smash factor, which is really not that bad, 85 mile an hour, and the spin rate is right on line with an average of about a 3-degree down, which is what I would call somewhere in the average condition. All right, so now you've seen that. Now you see the grouping, right? I've got 10 shots in here. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 shots. So let's go with the 5 best. So we're going to take out about these 5 right here, right? And that's going to be kind of representative, I think. So let's get to removing. So there's that one. And there's that one. And that one and that one. And one more. That one. And there we go. That's what it's looking like. It doesn't look nearly as cool as it did when it had all the shots in it, but that's more realistic. That's me, a little bit this way, a little bit that way. So I'm going to say that's a little more realistic. So now let's go back to the view. And now it's a 178 to 180. That's a number for a 6-iron. Swinging still at 85 mile an hour. The smash factor went up just ever so slightly. The spin came down a little bit, and it's still right at just shy of 5,000. And that's because if we go to the top, with the very first one I hit was a low spinner. Hit it very, very well, just didn't have a whole lot of spin on it. The rest of them are pretty decent. So now let's see what it looks like when it flies. It's probably going to look just as exposed as before. Again, a little bit tighter right in here with one flyer off to the right. I can play this. And if we go back and look, find in the middle, a little bit one way or to another. Again, at 178, 180, not too far off as a whole, but that's what averages can do to you. 85, 137, and effectively straight and straight down the middle. So let's go back and talk about who this is going to fit. All right, I walloped this thing. The difference between this one and the MBs and the CBs was literally the sole. Okay, the sole's a little bit wider, so if you're a person that hits a chunkier shot, or every once in a while will get a little bit tired and start throwing it just behind the ball instead of at the ball, this is the club that will help you. The wider sole allows you to glide out of the turf and not get stuck in it like a smaller sole would do that. The face, in comparison to a fully forged club, this one is just a hair more muted. Like I said, a hair more muted. It's not a bad thing per se. It's just not, and that's what this is all about, because it's a very large cavity back. So off-center hits is not going to drive up a truckload of feedback to you like it would be in a blade or a player's cavity back. So it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Now, it was easy to control. I did hit a few bad shots. And I wasn't penalized right to left as so much as I was front to back. So it's still there, right? I like this particular club because it goes down into the gap wedge, and I think most of these clubs should have a gap wedge. The look of this club at address is very easy to align. It sits really good behind the ball. It looks really good at address, and they've really done a number on the redesign on this. They've done very, very well. So who does somebody like this fit? Well, a lot of people. This is the one that's under the bell curve, right? This is the club that goes under the bell curve. This could help, the guy that's just becoming that good ball striker, or even a beginning golfer that is just not worried about lefts or rights, and still get that distance out there. It's the average golfer that is looking for that next club that's going to help them lower their scores. It could also be the better ball striker that at the top end of the set is just looking to nuke something, those long par 5s or long par 4s that they need to just get something out there. That's what this could be for. All right, so what do we have? We have an iron that has the Wilson shield on it, has the Dynapower and Forged logo on the back of it. Lots of chrome going on, so it looks good setting in the bag. I think, and I'm not 100% positive, but I think the sole even got a little bit more narrow this time around. This is what I would call an appropriate club for that person that tends to get stuck, looking for a little bit more forgiveness in that particular region. This is it. Now, when they first started, it was grossly too wide. I think they've hit the mark on this one. Now, when you look at it, the top line is not super thick. It is not butter knife thin, but it is right there in the middle. This club is hitting all the marks for being right in the middle, okay? And I hit it pretty good. So we're going to have to look at these guys. So if you got any questions on this, put them in the show notes below. If you like what you saw, hit the like button and subscribe so you get more of this. And don't forget our live streams. And as always, let's see your scores go low.